Hello and welcome to what I'm calling Bird's Eye View, my first attempt at video blogging on Railbird Central here at sportsbubbler.com, and I just wanted to talk about a couple of issues that came up during yesterday's Green Bay Packers win over the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, the thing that everybody's talking about that's overshadowing the win is the season-ending injuries to Aaron Campman and Al Harris, supposedly both left torn ACLs. We took a poll on our Cheesehead Nation live blog at the end of yesterday's game asking fans, which injury do you think impacts the Packers the most, or which one hurts the Packers the most? And the overwhelming majority voted for Al Harris with over 90% of the vote. And deservedly so. There's lots of concerns about what the Packers are going to do at cornerback now with Al Harris out of the picture. Just based upon what they did yesterday, sliding Tramon Williams over to the starter's role, sliding Jarrett Bush to the nickel and Brandon Underwood to the dime. You've got to assume that's where they're going to go in the future here. But of course, everybody saw Jarrett Bush got torched in coverage by Vernon Davis yesterday in a highlight reel play for the 49er tight end. And that isn't the first time Jarrett Bush has been beaten badly in his career. And as far as Brandon Underwood goes, he's a rookie that has a lot of potential. But you got to figure that opposing offenses are going to go after the rookie. They're going to test him. So a lot of unknowns there. And hard to say how that's going to play out. Hopefully we'll see against the Lions where that's going to head. Now, Packer fans won't have to wait long for the team to make some roster moves here. They should make 3 of them. If you take into account last week's cut of wide receiver Jake Allen, and assuming the Packers put both Campman and Harris on injured reserve, that makes 3 roster spots. Now, Green Bay Press-Gazette reporter Rob Demovsky is saying that the Packers are definitely considering rookie linebacker Cyril Obiezer, elevating him from the practice squad, and that would make sense, taking Aaron Campman's place there as a linebacker. Now, what else the Packers do, it remains to be seen. They could elevate perhaps rookie cornerback Trevor Ford from the practice squad to take ostensibly Al Harris's spot. Then they have another spot to fill yet. I mean, could it be another linebacker or cornerback based upon the need at those positions? Maybe. You'd have to think that maybe not at linebacker, considering the depth there. Guys like Jeremy Thompson being inactive this past game, you got to assume he's going to get a chance first before, somebody else would, a practice squad player or a street free agent. But speaking of street free agents, they're going to sign a couple of them to take the roster spots of the practice squad players that are elevated. So within the next day, you got to think they're going to be filling all these jobs. There could be 3, 4, 5, spots they're filling in between both the 53-man roster and the practice squad. One more thought here. After Charles Woodson's performance against both Dallas Cowboys tight end Jason Witten and 49ers tight end Vernon Davis, I have renewed feelings that Charles Woodson could become a safety in future seasons with the Green Bay Packers. He, for all intents and purposes, has essentially been playing a safety these past couple games, at least at times, in this corner Okie package under defensive coordinator Dom Capers, whereby Atari Bigby has been exiting the game and Tramon Williams has been coming in, and then Woodson's covering the tight end. Now, the Packers tried a little experiment with Woodson at safety last season where there were some injuries and he had to fill in for a couple games, and things didn't quite go so well. But after these past couple games doing a really good job against the tight end, you got to think that maybe, a la Rod Woodson of the Steelers, when future seasons, when Charles Woodson's speed declines a little and age catches up to him, maybe he plays out a couple seasons at safety toward the end of his career. There's a lot of uncertainty at safety. with Nick Collins heading into free agency. He's in his contract year right now. He held out of OTAs this past offseason, wanted a contract extension even back then. You got to figure he's going to want to go out and test the free agency waters, and the Packers may offer him a contract extension before the season's over, but maybe not. And let's just play a game of what if. What if he's gone? The Packers have Atari Bigby locked up for another season at least. But beyond that, they got Derek Martin, they got Jared Bush, they got Matt Giordano, and those three guys, they don't instill fear into any opponent based upon their past performance. So, where do the Packers turn at safety? They could draft one, but you can't really rely on a rookie to come in and play a big-time role right away, be a difference maker. They may go into free agency. Ted Thompson hasn't, stepped into the free agency waters a whole lot in the past, tested the free agency waters, pardon me, but he may have to, either at safety, or you got to assume perhaps the offensive line position or elsewhere. You got to think that he's got to make a little bigger effort in there this upcoming offseason. And there's a lot of uncertainty at the cornerback position now as well, with Al Harris out for the season and how long it takes to recover from an ACL injury. And, what if he can't start the season next year, which would seem to be a long shot? Does Charles Woodson move to safety, and who would they fill those roles? Now, Tramon Williams certainly seems like, he'd fill one of them, but, who else from there? Does Brandon Underwood step up in his sophomore season, or does a guy like Pat Lee step up, come back next year? He's currently on injured reserve right now. And just a side note, you got to wonder if the Packers regret putting Pat Lee on injured reserve with Al Harris going out. They certainly possibly could use him, to fill that role. So lots of uncertainty, and we'll see where we're headed here. But we got the Lions coming up on Thanksgiving, and I think that'll wrap up this debut edition of Bird's Eye View. So future episodes, maybe, we'll see. But thanks for joining me, and see ya.